Hey girlies, gays and theys, welcome back to another video. Today's video, if you couldn't tell, we're gonna talk about Heated Rivalry. And by Heated Rivalry, I mean the whole Game Changer book series, okay? I am so excited. I've been meaning to make this video for the longest time, but I haven't had time. Work has been extremely busy, per usual, which thankful for. I love working. I love having something to do, but I miss making videos. Also, I've been reminiscing on old videos. I was actually looking through a few older videos where it was more like booktube content, and I got really sad because I missed it. And I was like, whoa, I know I yap now, but I miss yapping about books and going on bookstore trips with you guys and recording it all, and just, I don't know, it's just, I remember reading brought me so much joy, and I still love reading. It just makes me really sad that I don't have the time or the energy to read anymore. I'm gonna be changing it. That might be a thing in the next coming video, but for today I did read all the Game Changer series, and I finished it maybe a month ago. Over a month ago? No, I don't know how long ago I finished it, but I finished it. I'm gonna talk about it. We're gonna get into it, and I'm excited. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I just also want to say before getting into the series is there's probably gonna be lots of points that I missed, but at the same time I do have a lot of points from each book. The thing is, sometimes I was forgetting that I was doing this, and now after reading them and getting my friend into reading the books, I realized there's so much more I want to talk about and wished that I remembered and had put into this, because there is so much more. Also, if you guys are new to this page, don't expect me to be like those other booktubers who know what they're talking about or sound very sophisticated. We're here for the vibes, okay? I am very easily entertained. I have never DNF'd a book. I did once, and that was this month actually. I was very disappointed. I've never done that. I mean, I do have a little life. I've never finished it. I plan on still reading it. It's been about a year though since I read it, maybe. Yeah, but it's not a DNF. I'm getting there. I don't know. Romance books are for me, I guess. It's just so funny how much I love romance, but I won't engage in romance. That's fine. That's a whole other topic. But yes, if you're looking for someone to go fully in depth about the books and like how characters are feeling and this and this and this, I'm not your guy. I'm going based off the vibes and how I felt about the books and how much I cried during the books and how much I relate to Shane as an autistic person. And if that's your cup of tea, then okay, then keep watching, bitch. I'm sorry. Then keep watching. Now, obviously, we are first going to start with Game Changer, the first book in the series that started it all. Are you ready? Because I'm not ready, because I don't remember what I was going to talk about in this book. Hold on. This is most likely going to be a long video. I'm not sure how to go about this. Again, I just got off of work and I'm tired and my brain's all over the place. I don't got time to script and plan, so we're just going to go for it. I'm just going to read through my points and give you guys more thoughts on it. First thing that I wrote, seemed rushed even for over 300 pages. This book is 366 pages and it felt rushed. After having my friend read this book, I wasn't the only one. I completely forgot. And again, if you only know of Kip and Scott, again, oh, this book is about Kip and Scott. If you've only watched the show Heated Rivalry, they have their whole episode. Just know the duration of the relationship is a total of 2 months. Yeah. Next point. Smut in every chapter, which I'm not used to and was getting bored of the repeat. I read mostly romance books. Everything has smut in it. I'm used to reading smut, but I was not used to this amount of smut. Also, I feel like it's my first MLM book, BL book, I don't know, whatever the fuck. So I've never read smut with two bros, okay? I was very much a dog with a head tilt the whole time reading these books. So obviously I was like, okay, like this is what's going down, totally fine. Obviously I'm okay with it because I'm fucking gay, but obviously I don't have a fucking dingaling, so I was very confused about how some things worked. But now I have more of an insight on that side of the community. You go, guys. So yeah, but I swear it was like in every goddamn chapter. My friend can also back me up on this. It was just so much, which I'm gonna go more into points about that right now. I wish there was more plot, but it's understandable. I liked how it shows how both Kip and Scott were feeling about the secret dating situation, and both had the right to be upset with the other person. Sometimes it gave Wattpad. I feel like that's where I'm at with that, with what I want to go into talking about Scott and Kip. I was very upset with Kip because it very much felt, at first at least, like he was forcing Scott to come out. It's either like, you don't come out, then we're not gonna be together. I know what you guys are gonna say. Scott is a grown-ass man. He can do what he wants. It was his decision to come out, which it was, okay? It just I let my friend borrow this bookmark. Why is it back in this book? What bookmark are they using? Did they not like this? Are they homophobic? They're also gay. But what the fuck, bro? I obviously had to send them a voice message. Anyway, again, I understand, but then when it got put into perspective again, because I had completely forgotten until my friend told me that they've only been together for 2 months and they've been feeling very strongly about each other, which we were very much like, is this also a gay cis man thing? Because they were basically U-hauling it like the lesbians, and we're like, stereotype of the lesbians if you didn't know, but we were like, whoa, they're moving very fast. And obviously, to each their own. I'm not one to say I love you within 2 months, but that could also be because I do need such a strong connection with a person that's like 2 months. I'm like, oh, are you obsessed with me? Like, I need you to back off of it. Like, I'm getting scared right now. You know what, like, it's at the same time, it's so understandable, but at the same time, like, you want Scott Hunter, the orphan, I'm pretty sure he's a fucking orphan, the orphan who has no family, all he has is hockey, his hockey family, to come out and risk it all. That's crazy. That I mean, Scott was in love and he fucking did it, which is like fine. I understand the breaking up because you can't be with someone who's closeted, especially if you're someone who's already out. I understand that, especially as a closeted person. I say closeted, I'm like a quarter closeted because I'm out like on social media, but like with my family and stuff, it's like I totally get it. Especially like back then, if I was so closeted and I was with somebody who was not closeted, I would feel bad being like, oh, you know what, I can't go out in public, or you can't post pictures of us because what if my family sees it, then my secret's gonna be out and then I'm gonna get kicked out and like this and this. It's a very stressful situation, but it's just like, I feel like that was a lot of pressure on Scott, and in the end it was his decision to do what he did with bringing Kip down and kissing him on the ice in front of everybody, but that really was stressing me out. But I can see why both parties were upset. Also, I forgot to say this in the beginning, but I feel like it's pretty obvious, there will be spoilers for all the fucking books in this series. I also want to say, because I completely forgot until I saw on TikTok and my friend told me, that Scott went to go meet Kip's parents, which now I'm over here like, does he have a mom? I only remember his dad, and I know he has a good relationship with his dad, but either way, he met his dad at least. I completely forgot about that, and I'm pretty sure it was like before the game, unless it was after. I honestly don't even remember anymore. But there's so much more that I wish they could have put into the show. I forgot I have more bullet points. I'm pretty sure one of them is, yeah, the last point that I have was, I wish they got a series first, because they're the first book and obviously the game changers, the people who started it all. But after watching Heated Rivalry, I'm like, okay, I get it, and I'm glad they just got one episode, because again, they were just fucking in this book. There was like, I wish they talked more, because when they did finally talk, it was when they got in a fight or in an argument. Honestly, I can't remember. I think in my head I made it much more than it was, because then when my friend told me, it's like, oh, I thought it was gonna be worse, and I was like, oh, was it not? They didn't put the fact that Kip didn't want Scott to like spend money on him. He gave him a $50,000 check to pay off his student loans for his birthday, and Kip was like, fuck no. And I think that's when their like argument started about like everything, and it blew up. There was also in the show, Scott, it seemed he had gifted Kip a tux for that gala, whatever the fuck, and in the book he offered to buy it for Kip, and Kip was like, no bitch. And they settled on, okay, well, I have a bunch of suits in my closet, just grab one, get it altered, whatever. And that's what happened. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I have bad memory, and it has been a while now since I've read this book. This is the one thing I forgot about. I cried when Scott came out to his 3 best friends, knowing how scary it is. Do I remember who his best friends are? No, don't ask me. You could probably put it in the comments because my ass forgot. But one day I do plan on rereading all of the series. So we'll see. These were more points about like the actual writing in the books and the format. And you're probably going to see more of that later on when I'm talking about the books. But I was not used to the POVs being mixed into each other during a chapter. Usually when I read standalone series, like say Anna Huang's books or Lauren Asher books, each chapter is that specific person's POV. But in these books, it like mixes up. There's like an indent. So I start getting used to like, oh, now it's so-and-so's POV, now it's this person's POV, like everything. But it was confusing at first. I'm like, where are we? Did we just like fucking shift somewhere? And I was like very confused at the beginning, but it's totally fine. And then again, I wish it was made into its own series first, but after watching Heated Rivalry, I'm glad they just got one episode. I wish more stuff could have been put in there, but obviously you only have so many minutes to get it done. And yeah, next book, Heated motherfucking Rivalry. I started thinking of that too much. I looked into my little viewfinder and I forgot they were there. So, Heated Rivalry, what we've been waiting for. First of all, I can't remember if I mentioned that Scott was supposed to be blonde, which I don't mind them changing, but it was so shocking, and I'm glad I wasn't the only one thinking this. The actor for Kip, his build, because that's not how he was described in the book, and bro makes smoothies. That was crazy, but it's fine, whatever. Let's move on. So now, second book of the series, Heated Rivalry, the one that started the show, and now I understand because the long game is also about Shane and Ilya, and Unrivaled is coming out in June of 2027. I already pre-ordered it, okay? It's also about them, so I'm so excited, but I'm also like really happy that Rachel Reed did make still the standalone series, even though they're getting 3 books to themselves, but still the other, 3 books of the other characters and the cameos, especially the Ilya cameos and all the other books. I could go on and on how I love everybody. I will get into my favorite couples later, but starting with my notes for Heated Rivalry. Surprised at the start that their fuck buddy relationship was going on for 7 years. Also, I take that back because I already knew going into it that they're not in a situationship, they're just fucking closeted, bro. They were technically fuck buddies. I wouldn't say that's the same thing as a situationship, but the fact that it's been going on for 7 years, that's crazy. And y'all were trying so hard to deny that you guys were catching feelings for each other. Wild. Love that there was a prologue to show how they met and how the rivalry started. I will say I was upset, again, formatting and book stuff. Typo on page 108. There is the same paragraph repeated twice. Now let me look into it because I don't remember what it is, and now I'm interested because I'm like, what part of the book is this? Guys, I found it. Okay, the first paragraph goes, yeah, I know, but Cliff looked wistfully at his phone. I gotta see her. Maybe I can just, no. You know what, Ilya? I'm gonna be completely honest here. I'm probably going to break curfew. It's not like I'll miss the bus to the airport. Then the following paragraph says, I gotta see her. Maybe I can just, no. You know what, Ilya? I'm gonna be completely honest here. I'm probably going to break curfew. It's not like I'm gonna miss the bus or airport. Yeah, so it's a repeated paragraph, except they just didn't put the, yeah, I know, but, and then Cliff looked wistfully at his phone. It just bothered me that I repeated. Moving on. Okay, there is a lot of points for this book, obviously, because it's Shane and Ilya. I'm gonna just zoom through them and try not to yap too much and then leave the yapping to after, but we'll fucking see. I said, not enough plot. Leaves out the hockey parts and goes straight to meeting at a hotel after. What if I want to learn about hockey? I know that's not what these books are about, okay? But if it's a hockey book, I want to at least know some bits of hockey or like what's going on to better understand certain situations later on, if that makes sense. I don't know, maybe that's just me. Love Rose being supportive even though her and Shane were breaking up. I lie. Loved how there was more plot and dialogue during the dating part with Rose and post breakup when the all-star game part was happening. Yes, I just wanted so much more dialogue and just them talking, or just in general them hanging out with other people, because again, I feel like I felt disappointed from the Game Changers book because it was mostly just like fucking smut, and I was like, what is going on here? But obviously, since they have technically 3 books for their own for these 2 characters, there has to be a lot going on. During the All-Star Game training, whatever the fuck it's called, finally got to read how they play hockey. I was so excited. I was like, I know stuff now. Do I remember it? No. But I know about hockey now. I also know there's no quarters. I know there's periods. I learned about that. Period. Then quotes, I think I'm gay. Shane saying that killed me because bro, no shit. But also going back to that, I did explain it to like friends and family who I got to watching the show and into the books, that as an autistic person and Shane being confirmed autistic, it was so real because I think when I finally came into terms, I'm like, I'm not straight. I did have a crisis. Like I was spiraling because now I'm like, I'm not the perfect daughter, niece, granddaughter, whatever that everybody knew me as in the family, because not to say that like I felt the favor in the family, but I felt in my family like the most dependable, I guess, hardworking, just one that like they looked at and they're like, oh yeah, that person's like doing all right, like fucking bring honor to us type shit. So I was really spiraling because I'm like, there's so many, especially homophobic people in my family, that I'm like, this is gonna ruin a lot of things. What if my friends are gonna hate me? Like people, like I'm gonna lose family members. And also just in the fact that it's like I'm in my 20s and I'm barely figuring this out. And I think for Shane, because obviously him and Ilya have been fucking at it, okay, for like years now, I think it's more of him coming to terms like he just realizing he does not like girls at all, because Ilya's bi but Shane is gay. And I feel like just like as a person who's like routine and doesn't like change, it's just a huge thing, especially when you finally come into terms with it. So I can feel the crashing out that he was doing where he was like, bro, I'm fucking gay, and Ilya's like, duh, like what do you think we were just doing right now? Anyways, that's my take on it. Ilya saying he can't be openly bi because he wouldn't be able to go back to Russia actually killed me. That's all that needs to be said. It's fucking scary. Love the cameos with Scott before he came out. Dude, one thing about me, if you know me in person, you know I always rave about how much I love standalone romance series because the characters make cameos in each other's books. And I love Scott. I love Scott Hunter so freaking much that I'm gonna just leave it at that. So much dialogue during the cottage, talking about the future and not too much smut. Obviously there was some smut, but there was more like they were acting like a fucking couple. And obviously this is like the first time that they have to themselves and admitting that they do like each other, that there's something there, and they're like, you know what, maybe we can have a relationship. Like this obviously means something to the both of us. And it's just it ties into like the whole in the Game Changer, Scott coming out and Ilya and Shane seeing that and just giving them that hope, which is why at the start I was like, oh, I wish the Game Changers had their own season first, because they're literally the fucking Game Changers. Like they started it all and they just gave them so much hope, and it makes me emotional still. So we're moving on. The charity being for suicide prevention. So if you're here just for spoilers and don't know what's going on, Shane and Ilya make a plan to start a charity together. If I'm remembering correctly, it's because obviously they want to, but also that would give them an excuse to see each other more and people not be weirded out by it and be like, why is Hollander hanging out with Rosanov? That's fucking weird, because again, they're fucking rivals, bro. And when Shane was like, we should name it the Irina Foundation, that shit fucking killed me. That was like, that was it. And then obviously that means so much to Ilya. It's just the fact, going later into like the long game, that Ilya would love so much for his mom to have been alive and to meet Shane and see how happy he makes him. So yeah, moving on. What other notes do I have here? Cried when Shane came out to his parents. His mom was so funny though, being focused on hockey. I've been seeing a lot of TikToks recently saying like Shane gets his autism from his mom because she's so hyperfixated on hockey. I totally see it. Like like somebody told me recently that they thought Yuna was very, very rude and like that she's just very like business mindset, and I'm like, no, I think that's just how she is, and she literally does do it out of love and routine and possibly on the spectrum. And I feel like Shane loves it because he's very much routine based, and sure, it could get overwhelming at times, but he knows what's gonna happen. Like especially for me, I need to know what's gonna happen ahead of time. I need to like mentally prepare. And since, not to say that Shane's like a mama's boy, but since his mom's literally his manager, Yuna has everything mapped out for him, so Shane doesn't have to stress out. He's like, okay, I got this, I got a fucking meeting, like all the things. I don't see Yuna as rude or disrespectful towards him. I love her, honestly. Oh, this is when I was like, I had seen the clips from the show that they were eating spaghetti when Shane was coming out to his parents. Well, he came out and then they started eating spaghetti. But they were sitting on the couch in the book. And that's where he was like stressing out and like putting his head down and everything. It wasn't at the dinner table. Shane's saying on page 323, if y'all want to look it up, but I'm playing the long game here. And I was like, makes sense on why the next book is going to be called The Long Game. I love it when there's a title drop. Hayden and Ilya in the epilogue are so funny, and Jackie. I thought I talked about in this video, but I was just sending voice messages to my cousin who I got to watch the show. I told them about the epilogue and how I think that's how season 2 is gonna start. Hayden and Ilya's relationship is so funny because Hayden hates Ilya so much. I wouldn't say that Ilya hates Hayden. He definitely likes messing with him. And again, if you read the books, you will see that Ilya's not an asshole. Like, technically he is, but when he chirps at the other players and everything, I don't know, he's just like, he's actually like such a fucking softie. It's so funny. So he does it as if like your little brother's annoying you. Like, that's literally how it fucking is. And him and Hayden's like relationship is so funny to me. But yeah, anyways, we're gonna move on to the next book. Okay, the next book I don't have with me because my friend is currently borrowing it and they are clearly reading it without this bookmark. So obviously they're not having a good time because they would be having a better time if they were reading it with this bookmark. The next book in the series, the third book, is called Tough Guy. And that is with Ryan Price and Fabian Sala. My first thing in all caps, this is about Ryan Price. I was surprised. Honestly, I didn't think he was... Okay, I feel like when I read standalone series, I can tell like who's gonna get their next book. It's like, oh, we're seeing a little bit too much of you. But I don't know, for some reason I think it's because how he was described. I was like, he's not getting his own book, he's not gay. Or I don't even remember if I was even thinking whatever the fuck. But I said all I remember is that he's a big guy who's scared of flying, LMAO. Okay, still weird about transitions between characters in each book. Example, page 15. I would explain it, but my friend has a book. Yeah. Ryan basically said that his job is to be the big, strong guy that beats people up, but he's scared and he doesn't want to hurt people and he just doesn't want to hit them. He is a huge softie. I love Ryan with my whole damn heart. I feel like I'm probably gonna talk about it right now, but he has so much anxiety, literally an anxiety disorder, and I was like, twin. But now I was reading this book, I related to him so much. Not so much now, but I feel like past me when I first got diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder and a panic disorder, like whatever the heck else. My anxiety used to be so fucking bad, especially in high school, that I would have to leave one of like my classroom periods every single day because I would literally be hyperventilating, almost fainting. Like, I couldn't fucking breathe. It was like this whole thing. Like, I was just like tearing up and everything, and there was no reason for me to be anxious. It would just like happen. Like, I in myself was like, why the heck is this happening? Like, I'm literally fine, and it would just happen. But I obviously did have fears. I didn't like being around people, and also I feel this comes also into the things that I was undiagnosed autistic back then. So I feel like my anxiety was so much worse than it is now, and now I can tell what's gonna set me off or not, if that makes sense. But yeah, I love Ryan. He's medicated too, which sucks because bro can't get it up. Yeah, okay. There was an error on page 92 that was bothering me. It says used to time 2, but should say used this time 2. Okay, whatever. Ryan's anxiety is so real. Just talked about that. Slow burn. They finally hooked up in chapter 16, which is a bit more than halfway into their book. I don't know how many pages there is, but I was like, okay, finally a slow burn. We're not starting off with the fucking, because obviously with Scott and Kip, it was like every goddamn chapter and the whole chapter. And with Shane and Ilya, it's been happening since they were 17. So it's just over time. But this... chef's kiss, okay? Fabian being stressed out about Ryan using Head and Shoulders shampoo and just soap to wash his face is so real. The way, I don't know if you guys, when you guys read, you guys see it as a movie. There's a movie playing in your head. But the way that I just imagine him like coming out the door frame being like, honey, like, where the fuck is your shampoo conditioner? And it's the fucking 2-in-1 Head and Shoulders. That was stressing me out. I love Redken, okay? I used to use hair mask all the time. I don't got time for that shit no more. But a 2-in-1 shampoo? A 3-in-1? Like, Head and Shoulders type shit? No, absolutely not. No. So I felt for Fabian. Shane and Ilya announced their charity together during the timeline in this book. I just wanted to share that because I was like, the cameos, the layovers, you know what I mean, whatever the fuck. During the TV interview, the team started saying Shane is probably the gay one between them, which was on page 197. I started crying when Ryan stood up for himself and the gays to Kent. Dallas motherfucking Kent. I hate that man, and you guys will see once we get to role model. But I hate Dallas Kent. But Ryan, you guys, I already explained how fucking anxious he is. The fact that he stood up to him and his homophobic team, amazing. I was so proud. I felt like such a proud parent. Wyatt, I love Wyatt, but he's the biggest ally. I'm pretty sure he's the one that's like, homophobic? Me? My sister has a wife. I'm pretty sure he's the one. But when he got traded, it made me so sad because like Ryan finally had a friend, and Ryan gets traded every single freaking season. Why? I don't remember. I mean, I remember why, because everybody wants him because he's like big and strong. He's the one that comes like beats people up. But I can't remember why they wouldn't just keep him. Because I don't think it was his choice. That's so sad. Fabian not understanding why Ryan can't just quit was stressing me out. Because, again, I feel like this goes into posts that me and my other friend were talking about. It's like, if I complain about something, I don't want a solution. I just want to complain. I feel like that was Ryan. Obviously, if he could, I mean, we'll get to that later, he would end it. But, like, that's his career. That's all he knows. That's how he makes money. Like, I don't think he can see himself leaving hockey and starting some random minimum wage job because he doesn't have any education. At least I don't think he has an education past high school. I know there's some hockey players that still go to college and, you know, get degrees for what they want to do. But if he would want to do that, that's so many years of school that he has to go through. And yeah, maybe he'll have money that he's had saved to get him through life. But that's such a drastic change. It's literally a career. It's not even a job. It's a whole ass career. And he would like lose it all just to quit, just because he's like, I hate my job. Fabian, what the fuck, bro? I can't remember who Vanessa is. I'm pretty sure Fabian's friend. But I said, Vanessa telling Fabian once the hockey part got too real, he bolted. Yes. Him finally realizing how much Ryan improved with his fear of flying, socializing, etc. But he still hated everything hockey. Maybe he's the one that needs therapy, I said. I feel like I didn't go into this actually. Fabian and Ryan knew each other when they were teenagers because Fabian's parents would host teen hockey players to stay there over the summer, I think, or hockey season. I don't know when the fuck. And so Fabian, I think he has like an older brother, younger brother. He has a brother that also plays hockey, and he's a musician. He's an artist, okay? He's a singer. He hated everything hockey since then because like his parents basically don't fucking love him. Like they focus everything on hockey and his brother that does like hockey and the hockey players they would bring. And I think he actually explained to Ryan once that he feels like the reason they did that is because he didn't live up to their expectations for the type of son that they wanted. So they just got more hockey player sons. But they do explain in the book that he actually liked Ryan. Out of all the hockey players that came, he was still an asshole to Ryan when he like first moved in with them when they were like teenagers. But then he started like opening up a little bit more to him because he was actually a nice guy. He wasn't an asshole like the rest of them. So anyway, Ryan's doing all these changing. He's trying to improve himself. He got a haircut. He's like doing like cutting his beard like fucking, I don't know, Bad Bunny type shit. And he's switching up his routine, his shampoos, no more Head and Shoulders. He's using aftershave. I don't know what the fuck. He's just improving himself and his style and like everything and trying to get used to flying, all of the stuff. And Fabian's just still stuck in place because he still can't fathom that the man he claims to love is a hockey player. As if he didn't go into that knowing he's a hockey player and it's his career. It's not like it's his goddamn hobby. So the fact that now he's like, I don't know if I want to be with this man because he won't give up hockey. Like he should just give up hockey. And the way that he was like acting so shocked because he like, I think he finally brought himself to watch the videos of like a compilation of Ryan getting into fights during games, and he was like, oh my god, like that's fucking crazy. I don't know, maybe it's just me. It's just guys fighting, bro. It's the game. And I understand he hates the fucking game, but I'm like, he's fine, man. Like he can take care of himself. But yeah, Fabian was stressing me out. I don't like Fabian too much. I like him. I don't want to say for Ryan, which I do like them together, but I love that he did make Ryan feel more confident and comfortable in himself, especially with his sex drive, especially because he's on his medications and don't let him get up. But you know what I mean. He was stressing me out. Okay, moving on. Ilya being at the funeral. Sad moment that nobody was showing up, but also got excited because I missed Ilya. I missed him. Crying because Ilya showed up since Harvey died of suicide like his mother, so he wanted to show his support. That made me cry even more. Ilya offering Ryan a job. I really do be talking too much because my battery died. Anyways, Ilya offering Ryan a job as a coach for kids and saying it'll be inclusive for gay kids too. And then what happened? Ryan was able to quit his job. He was able to quit and join the camp. I think he quit. Do I say that? Because I know it's like a seasonal thing. But I'm pretty sure he quits his job and then he goes to work there. Ryan walking in on Shane and Ilya. Oh my gosh, the Shane cameo, and it's just him getting walked in on. I think they were just kissing though. It's fine. And then Shane obviously panicking and Ilya being so casual. That is my last note for that book. But overall, loved it. Mainly loved Ryan. Was very excited that he got a book and we got to learn a lot more about him. And again, love the Ilya cameos. Moving on to the next book. Common goal. This, okay, I don't do good with age gaps. I don't like age gaps. Why? A traumatic event happened to me as a child. We'll leave it at that. I don't like older men. In general, I just don't like age gaps and seeing people in age gaps relationship. It really grosses me out. That could just be me and my traumatic events that had happened to me as a child. But when I saw it was going to be Kyle and Eric, I was like, I don't know how I'm feeling about this, but I'm still going to read it because I'm going to fucking read it. I got to read every book in the series. Also, in the show, they didn't make Kyle blonde. I'm actually upset because I feel like season 2, I just saw a post today saying it's going to be Role Model and The Long Game. So I don't know if like Ryan and Fabian are gonna make cameos or if Eric and Kyle are gonna make cameos. I really hope so. I don't think they're gonna get a whole episode at this point, honestly. I don't know. But if they do, that would be great because that means we're gonna see Scott. There's so much Scott and Kip cameos in this because Eric is on the New York Admirals. So he's on Scott's team. But before I keep rambling on and on, let me see what I actually put in like in my fucking notes. There you go. Scott Hunter cameo. He's the captain for the Admirals and Eric is the guy on the team. Shane cameo since they're playing against Montreal. I was so excited to see my boy Shane. Scott and Kip were engaged. Crying emoji. That was crazy. Again, I'm still upset that they were like just in like a 2-month relationship, but they're married, they're happy, it's great. I love them and I mostly love Scott, so there's that. Now, in all caps, Kyle from the first book, from the bar, word for word. Crying because Eric pushed the thought of liking guys away since he was married to a woman for most of his life, so he never had a chance to think about it. But now he's single and Hunter is out, and that obviously changes things for him. That did make me really sad. But I feel like this is very important, especially I don't think any straight like cis Republican women are gonna be reading this book, but it goes into that type of thinking that there's a lot of people who think being gay or any type of queer is a trend or that you turn gay. Like I have someone in my family who was like, oh yeah, I have my friend's husband, like he turned gay and so they got a divorce and he obviously still helps out with the kids, but he's gay now. And I was like, no girl, he's been gay. Like your husband is gay. So I feel like it's so sad because I think Eric is bi. He just like fell out of love with his wife and then, you know, hockey got in the way, like all the stuff. Correct me if I'm wrong. But obviously that love like wasn't there anymore, and it was more of like a comfortable thing. Like I think they were like high school sweethearts or something. I don't know. But he's always knew in the back in his mind that he liked guys too. And I felt like that was one of the things I resonated with him or related to with him, because I questioned my sexuality at least once a year since I was a kid. And I'm like, there's no way that I am. That's crazy. Like, No, no fucking way. And now I'm in my 20s and like I'm finally out because I'm finally like sitting with it and being like, I like girls. Again, with the whole thing talking about before, like even with like Shane and just like coming into terms that that's who you are. But anyways, we're moving on because yeah, I loved Eric and his whole character. Maria from the first book is roommates with Kyle. That was in all caps. And I was like Kip's friend from the smoothie shop in case I were to forget when I reread these notes. Eric realizing he probably never loved Holly. I thought he was bi, but he just might be straight up gay. And then I said, JK, he says he is bi, but never kissed a man before. Real. Need someone like Kyle to make me mocktails since I can't have alcohol but want to be included. I thought that would, again, I still don't like the age gap thing, but they're cute together. I loved Kyle for that. Eric doesn't drink. I think it's more of a health thing because again, he is older. He wants to maintain himself. He wants to keep playing hockey. I think throughout the book he is saying that he's thinking about retiring, but he very much treats his body like a temple and he just does not want to consume alcohol. I can't have alcohol because of my chronic illnesses. Either it will spike up my pain levels that I'm already constantly in pain 24/7, or it will trigger a seizure. But I get really sad when everyone around me is drinking and it's like, I want to have a little drinky drink. I want a mocktail, but no, they're like, no, this is all we got. So love Kyle for that. I wish I had a Kyle in my life. Understandable why Kyle doesn't want to pursue Eric due to his past when he was 18. I won't go into depth with that, but basically Kyle was taken advantage of. And I'm still pissed about it, cause real. Not, actually, we didn't have the same experience. He had consent. Okay. When Kyle spent the night after Eric's birthday party and the next morning Eric told Kyle he's bi but no experience, so Kyle is gonna help him. Bro, I was stressing out already because at this point I'm pretty sure in the book it's shown that Kyle is interested in Eric and it's like, dang, he's a good looking guy. And I'm pretty sure at this point then it's when Eric tells him that he's not married anymore because he was wearing his ring. He wouldn't take it off. So Kyle was like, bro, he's a married man and he's trying to get with me. Like, no, not doing that again. So there was like that whole back and forth. Page 125 hit me in the heart. What's page 125? I read one sentence and I was like, oh, okay. Eric said, thank you for tonight. Do you think it helped? I do. I know it doesn't seem like much, but this was all new for me. I think it's a little less scary now, so thanks. I'm glad. They walked together another minute in silence. Then Harry huffed out a laugh. What? Kyle asked. Nothing. I mean, nothing funny. Is it awful if I admit that a big part of me wants to stick to dating women because at least I have some familiarity with what to do there? I was like, that's what I was like really relating to. Okay, it's not awful. That actually makes a lot of sense. But sex with a man isn't that different. Okay. Eric scoffed and Kyle admitted, okay, it is different. I assume I've only been with men, but it doesn't have to be scary. Eric seemed to consider this. I want to see what it's like being with a man. I know it's probably ridiculous to say, but I feel like something will click into place when I do it. Kyle understood what Eric was trying to say, but he wanted to make something clear. You know you're not any less bisexual if you never hook up with a man, right? Your sexuality is still completely valid and real, whether you have sex with one gender, multiple genders, or no one at all. When Kyle said that, I felt so validated. Not making this whole series about me, but it's about me. I was sobbing when I read that, guys. Eric was silent a long time before answering. I know, but it still feels theoretical. It's not. You know who you are and you know who you're attracted to. You don't have to act on it to make it real. He glanced over to see Eric's furrowed brow and decided to add, but wanting to act on it is valid too. If doing this is important to you, then you should do it. I think I will reread the series because what the actual fuck, guys? And this is when I started getting stressed. When they kissed at the end of the night, but Kyle is making it seem like it's no big deal. And helping Eric go through a checklist of his first time doing things with a man. Ugh! That's when they were both like, we like each other, but we're not gonna act on it. And they were stressing me out. Ryan Price mentioned that he's working with Ilya at the kids hockey camp thing. I was so excited for that. I mean, it already showed at the end of his book, but still. Page 205 has a printing mistake, no space after the I. They should hire me to proofread these books, LMAO. Yes, Rachel Reed, please. Eric coming out as bi to Ilya made me cry. 2 months without talking since the reveal about their feelings came out is crazy. I completely forgot about that. They admitted their feelings to one another and they didn't speak for 2 months. I would have crashed out. Confessing in the back room at Kyle's work. But finally, what I've been waiting for, Eric wants to buy the bar with Scott so Kyle can finally fix it up and travel to Greece together. Ugh. I know Kyle's into art and he's going to school for art, and that was like one of the things him and Eric had in common, because it was Kip. I forgot, that's like the whole rant I was supposed to go on. Kip was the one's like, oh, you should like talk to Eric because you guys both like art, da 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 da. And Kyle wants to explore the world. And he also wants to change up the bar, the Kingfisher, because he has so many ideas for like new drinks, new menu, all of this, but they're not letting him make any changes. So Scott and Eric, they bought it. They bought it. Scott was obviously down because that was where Kip worked at too. I think he was still working there actually. Yeah, because, okay, that was the whole rant I was supposed to go on. Kyle, since the beginning of the book, has had a massive crush on Kip. They kissed in the Game Changer book, in the first book. Kip was like, I'm sorry for leading you on. I actually just went through a breakup, and then he got back with Scott. Kyle was like literally obsessed with Kip, couldn't get over him, was at their wedding, everything, and was like, oh my gosh, my dream man. And Maria was like, girl, get your head in check. So yeah, where was I going with this? Anyways, it's really nice to see him and Eric so happy and together now. At that point, I was getting over the whole age gap thing, so it's fine. Oh, I saw this on a TikTok, and I just wrote it down, that I would want Joe Manganiello to play Eric. Somebody suggested that on TikTok, and I was like, so true, so true. Moving on to the fourth book. Fourth? Fifth. Fifth. Role model. If I were to read one more book before I died, it would probably be Role Model. I love Role Model with my entire existence. Troy and Harris, power couple. That power couple, okay? I was gonna leave this to like the very end, but like my favorite couples, obviously Shane and Ilya, but Troy and Harris, love them. Also, apologies if you guys keep hearing my chair squeak throughout this whole damn video, but let me get into this book, this masterpiece of a fucking book. Let's go through my points, shall we? Saying it's about Troy freaking Barrett before I started reading. I don't remember who he is, but his name sounds familiar, so I got excited. Also forgot who Dallas Kent is, but I remember we don't like him. Now for sure we don't like him. A rapist. Again, all the caps. Wyatt. Ah, I missed one of my fave allies. Ilya's the captain for Ottawa. Ah, more cameos. This is when I found out that he like officially switched teams, because again, I believe he was like a free agent. He could go anywhere he wanted, but all the fans were like surprised that he chose Ottawa because apparently their team like fucking sucks. But Wyatt's on the team and I love him. Okay, also remembering from one of the previous books that Troy was besties with Dallas, so it's kind of making sense now in the way that Troy is joining the Ottawa team and everybody fucking hates him, which can't remember if I talk about it later, but the reason he joins the Ottawa team is because he gets kicked off of his team, because I believe he got in it with Dallas Kent because there was, they say allegations, but women spoke up saying that they got essayed by Dallas Kent. Obviously, Troy believed the women and was pissed that because hockey's such a misogynistic sport and blah, 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 everybody was still cheering for like Dallas Kent. Everyone's like, oh, I can't believe those women would be making up lies, blah, blah. And I think Dallas said something of like the sort and was like, yeah, like they're fucking crazy. But Troy, I believe because of how Dallas is as a person, he was like, you know what, like I fucking believe the women. Like this, like he didn't see it happen, but he knows that it happened. He's like, there's no way that it didn't happen. Am I making sense? Moving on. Just to let you guys know, this is very much, what's it called? Grumpy ex sunshine trope. Harris being the sunshine. Oh yeah, but Troy, again, since he was like best friends with Dallas Kent, everybody hated him automatically, and everybody on the team was like very wary of him, and because of that, he built up a bunch of walls and was not getting close to anybody, and it got to the point where the captain was like, hey buddy, you should make friends. Troy isn't out yet and just went through a breakup. He was in a relationship for 2 years, obviously closeted. His actor boyfriend also closeted. He was out filming a movie, TV series, whatever. Broke up with him because he fell in love with like the director or producer or some shit. Then they both came out publicly and got married. I'm pretty sure. But anyways, that would be like fucking depressing. Imagine your boyfriend of 2 years fucking leaves you, is out in the open now because now he's like living this rich lifestyle and you're still in the closet and you just got kicked off your team and now you're on a team that like fucking sucks. That's a lot. That's a lot to take on. I actually thought I wasn't gonna be interested in this book, but not even done with the first chapter and it's got my attention already. I want to reread it. Troy got daddy issues. Got it. He does. I hate his dad. I hate that man. Oh, this. I love that therapy dogs are brought up because there's a huge difference between therapy dogs, SDs, service dogs, and ESAs, emotional support animals. I could go on and on about it, but I won't. I'll just tell you right now that there is a fucking difference. Okay, moving on. Harry's thinking Troy is homophobic, but he really just thought it was great he could wear his pride pins proudly, which he did apologize for later. Because he's like, I'm not homophobic. I said, wait. This is when I was confused. I said, wait, is Dallas Kent that one guy who killed himself during Tough Guy? And I said, I googled it, just kidding. It was Duncan Harvey, my bad. Fans hating on Troy for speaking out about Dallas being a fucking rapist was so upsetting. I was pissed. Again, as someone who has experienced SA, it is very frustrating when nobody believes you. Not even when nobody believes you, when they believe you and they still defend the person who did it. It's the worst fucking feeling ever. When Harris told Wyatt it was his job to make Troy look like a role model, and I was like, book title reference, love to see it. Harris freaking out during the Q&A because he's a people person, but he can't seem to get Troy to be comfortable around him with all the questions he was giving him. And that was so real. So real in the fact that, as I tell everyone, my ADHD shows way more than when I was a kid. I have ADHD, autism, and ADHD. High school and previous years, I was a completely quiet kid, would not talk. When I would talk, I would get told to speak up. Now I talk way more. My friends say I am a people person, and I feel like when I don't get the same amount of energy, I'm like, this person hates me. So I can see how Harris was being uncomfortable in this situation. Ilya being supportive of Troy since they still haven't won a game. Also, Ilya having a tattoo of a loon. Ugh, love that. But dude, Ilya is such a great captain. He's a great guy. I love Ilya so much. Troy saying there are rumors about Shane being gay. Page 65. Him proceeding to think about asking Ilya for Shane's number. That shit was fucking killing me. I'm glad he didn't ask for it. At least I don't think he did. I don't know if like the topic came up in a conversation later or not, but that was like literally killing me. Harris having a health condition. Finally another character I can relate to, besides being queer. Even though my chronic illnesses aren't deadly. My seizures are, technically. I've choked multiple times. Ilya not hanging out with the team on days he's off since he's probably with Shane. LMAO, I say. Troy not knowing how to act at the barbecue, but everyone actually being super nice and welcoming. That is so real. I feel like that was me when I started making friends as an adult. It's like, oh, you're being nice to me. Not to say like my friends before weren't nice, but like I stopped being friends with a lot of people because they were not great people. And it felt like those were the only friends I could be friends with, especially in school. And it's hard to make friends outside of school, like once you graduate, because you're an adult and all you do is work. So I also felt very relatable to Troy during that because his whole team before was super homophobic and shit, and they were all fucking assholes. And now he's going to this team who was super supportive of everybody, and everyone's like a family there. And he's like, what the fuck is this? Like, am I being punked right now? Fabian cameo. Harris listens to his music. Harris already getting the hint that Troy might be gay with all the questions he's been asking about his dating life, but not wanting to ask him about it. Harris is the most respectful person in the world. I love him. I love him to death. He's one of my favorites. Okay. Ugh, the anxiety that Troy is gonna have to play against his old team in Toronto. Troy being so calm around Harris. Troy, this is why I love reading books, because you get to know what happens in these people's heads, which I get because they're fictional characters. I don't care. I still get very emotionally attached to them. But it's not as bad as like how Ryan's anxiety is. But with all the stuff happening in Troy's life right now and everyone practically hating him, he's very anxiety filled at the moment, but he only feels calm when he's with Harris, and I thought that was like really, really cute. Page 127. Ilya telling Troy that they have his back when he's nervous about playing against his old team. Dang, I'm like, how? There's so much more notes, and I'm like, what part of the book am I at? Ilya beating up Dallas and Troy getting into a fight with him too. Had me emotional. I love that part. Kyle finally being in charge of the Kingfisher and the place looks great. Thanks Scott and Eric. Troy not knowing Eric was into men and being shocked that nobody was disgusted when he kissed Kyle and when Scott kissed Kip. Again, it's so crazy to go from such a dangerous, unwelcoming environment to such a healthy one. And I relate to that so much too. We're not gonna get any deeper into that because I'm already yapping too much. Ilya basically coming out to Troy and Troy coming out to Ilya. Troy pretty much guessing that Ilya and Shane are together, and then Ilya's like, shut the fuck up. We're not talking anymore. Ilya clocking that Troy likes Harris. Like, he automatically knew. In every book, there's an Ilya cameo, and in every book, Ilya clocks the gay character being like, you're gay. And obviously he's an ally because he's also gay. I saw spoilers about there being a plane incident, but in the book The Long Game. But it's happening now. I was so fucking confused and I was so scared. I said, oh, they survived. Like I knew they would, but I was still fucking crying. Completely forgot about Harris's heart condition until he was getting checked out by the medics. Bro, I was worried about him. I knew he was gonna be fine, but still. Troy and Harris finally kissed. 175 pages into this damn book. This is me in all caps saying, no, Troy, why are you telling Harris it didn't matter about them hooking up? Then I say, JK, Troy finally confessed that it meant something to him and they smashed again. But they said yes to staying friends since Troy isn't out yet. And I feel like that was very much giving Scott and Kip, because Harris is obviously very out, but Troy is very obviously not. And especially of the current position he's at in his career already, if he were to come out, that would be a shit show for him, to say in the least. The commissioner calling Troy and basically threatening him and not believing SA victims. That shit triggered me, because this was when Troy finally got an Instagram. He made himself an Instagram, and I believe he was like donating to charities about like SA victims and speaking out for victims. The commissioner called him in, thinking, because a lot of people were thinking that he was doing that as basically a rebellion to Dallas Kent, when he was like, no, I'm just speaking up against SA in general, bro. But the commissioner's like, we're not having that shit again. Which I don't know if I get into that later, but the commissioner, I'm pretty sure also, I don't know if it was with him or in the next book, which I'll talk about, but threatened him not to come out. He was like, bro, if you're fruity, keep it to yourself, because we're not doing the same shit again, like how Scott came out and kissed Kip in front of everybody. We're not doing that shit. Anyways, I can't remember. Let's go on. Page 246, Anaheim mention. Hey, I can't remember if it was like the actual Anaheim Ducks, because I think these are all made up teams. But yeah, Anaheim mention. Confirmed that going to Fabian's show is a date. Troy and Harris went to Fabian's show. Confirmed it was a date. I think at one point they held hands and I was crying. Troy apologizing and coming out to Ryan. Oh, Ryan Price, I forgot he was such an asshole to him. When he was friends with Dallas Kent, he also threw out homophobic slurs towards people. And again, it was him masking and trying to blend in with the environment he was, because that's all he knew, and it was like the safest way for him, if that makes sense. I feel if you're watching this and you're gay, it makes sense to you. But yeah, he apologized to Ryan for how he treated him when he was on the team with Dallas Kent, and then kissing Harris at the bar in front of people. I cried. I cried so much. Troy being so in love with Harris, he wants to come out publicly, and then realizing he's playing against Toronto for the Pride Night game. And Dallas motherfucking Kent will be there. So again, that's a lot on his plate. He's like, you know what? I am ready to come out. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it during Pride Night. And then they see who they're playing against, and his ex-best friend is there. The rapist. The homophobic rapist. Troy's coach not caring what the commissioner is saying and being like, fuck him. Post what you want, bro. I don't know how to say his name. Is it Coach Weeb? Coach Wabe? Somebody tell me, because Coach Weeb is giving anime and I can't handle that. And then in all caps, the coach knowing Troy is with Harris because he saw them kissing once. That shit fucking killed me. And I know Troy was fucking panicking, being like, you saw that shit? That's crazy. The way Troy came out so casually to the team, LMAO, but everyone was supportive. Obviously. Kent being arrested, hey, but not charged yet, boo. I was really pissed at that part because we didn't get an update. Troy coming out to his dad, then crying when feeling the emotions of it after. I feel like that's gonna be me. Oh, and then I say that's gonna be me too, probably, with no contact after. LMAO. Very much a likely possibility. I will be disowned. In all caps, when Troy's mom showed up, I cried. She's also an ally. We love her. Why is there no epilogue? Every other book had one. And then I said, before going to bed, after reading the book, I am now realizing there is no epilogue since Ilya is the captain for Troy's team. So there will be a lot of involvement of the same characters in this next book. Now, before we move on to the long game, I do want to say that I already know that I said at the beginning of this video that I'm going to be yapping a lot, and it's not going to be like other booktubers where they go into depth. These are literally just my thought, like bullet point thoughts about each books in the series, because I want to have someone to talk to about them. And this video most likely won't get seen by a lot of people or get comments or anything, but at least I'm still getting all my emotions out and putting it out there in hopes that someone will talk to me about this goddamn series. Again, I feel like my videos are made for more comfort. Like my vibe when starting YouTube has always been for comfort. This is to be like if you're talking to a friend, if you're on FaceTime with somebody. This isn't to be like we're in a classroom, we're gonna break down, why am I doing Lego hands? We're gonna like break down like the books and like this and this and da 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 da. Like no, I'm just here for the vibes, bro. So anyways, I just wanted to say that because I know I'm going off like da 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 da, and it's like yeah, that's it. I just want to talk about the books, how I relate to them, why I love them, and how much I cried over them. Moving on, let's talk about the long game. Again, this is Shane and Ilya, and if you didn't know, now you'll know. This is the most depressing book in the series, and I cried a lot during this book, and now I'm scared for season 2. Okay. Shane finally calling Ilya his boyfriend, and they're so fucking cute. I couldn't. About 2 years have passed since Heated Rivalry. Shane says Ilya now has the same agent as him, and he came out as gay to her 2 years ago. However, she doesn't know that him and Ilya are dating. They're 29 now. I'm getting there. I just turned 27. Shane saying that he's playing the longest game. Title mention. But oh my god, them being in hiding until they retire. That shit is still making me sad, bro. I think this was like not even 2 chapters in, and I was already sobbing, but Ilya drew me about his mom, had me crying, and I'm barely 2 chapters in. Oh, there we go. His mom isn't talking his dream because he probably forgot what she sounds like. I saw people saying that on TikTok, and then when I read it, it made sense, and it made me cry even harder. The mention of Ryan Price walking in on them kissing the first year of their camp, that was so funny to me. Shane is learning Russian, and I feel like that's amazing. I feel like if I were to date somebody that doesn't speak Spanish and they learn Spanish like just for me, that would make me so happy. At the same time though, it's like they obviously don't have to, because I obviously know English, and if they were to know English, it's great. But for Ilya, it's like he has a hard time speaking English. Obviously, time has passed. He's getting better. He's getting better at understanding what words mean and use context clues, blah, blah, blah. Speaking to somebody in Russian would obviously be so much easier for him, especially with that part in the Heated Rivalry book or in the show where Shane's like, Ilya's in Russia. His dad just died. He's like panicking. Shane's like, just tell me how you're feeling in Russian. I won't understand you, but at least you'll still get that off your chest. Yeah. I'm sad. Oh, the hockey camp is called Game Changers. I got so happy over that. Also, finally, there's a trans character. I love you, Max. Side character. I feel like he only comes out in the book like twice, but the representation is there and I'm loving it. I don't care that it's very little. At least it's there. I mean, the whole book is queer, but like to have a trans character. Also, he was in the women's like hockey team, and then he came out. He's married to his wife now, I believe, who's also in the women's hockey team, but now he can't play hockey because he's trans. And yeah, that made me really sad because like now I really don't have a chance at playing hockey professionally. I wasn't even gonna try. I'm 27 and I've never played. I can't ice skate. I can barely even like rollerblade. That was never happening for me, but it's fine. Ilya being jealous of other guys talking to Shane was so funny, aka the reporter at the camp that was doing interviews with him. Ryan catching Shane and Ilya almost kissing again. The poor man is traumatized. I know they're just kissing, but with his nervousness, bro is like panicking every time it happens. Ilya's relationship with Yuna, with Shane's mom, when she says, "That's why you're my favorite son" to him. I think in this conversation it was because he was like telling her like, look, like I'm helping you clean up or something. This part killed me. Ilya talking to his mother through the stars. I feel like that really made me sob because I do the same thing with my tia who passed away, but with the son, because her name was Luz. I wouldn't say like talk to her, but I always say like good morning to the sun, or like if when I'm seeing the sun or like a beautiful sunset when I'm driving home from work, whatever, I'm like hola tia, like all this stuff. And then I just think about like all the things I want to tell her, all the things she's missing out on. So when Ilya was talking to the stars, I lost it. Yeah, okay, moving on. Ilya and Shane realize that they are not good at showing others they're in love since they're so used to hiding it. Mind you, at this point, they're still in the closet, but like, I think this is when they went with, I want to say Ryan to Fabian's show, maybe? Or so, I can't remember, but it's so sad. That I'll leave it at that. I didn't know that Coach Wabe, whatever his name is, was 41. I thought he was way older. 41 is not that old. Isn't that like Scott Hunter's age? Sorry, Scott. Ilya wanting to be able to touch Shane in public, but they're not out of the closet yet. He misses physical touch. I'ma cry. And then I said, oh, Shane also wants him, but said it's perfectly fine to wait. That was the scene. I think they were watching Fabian perform a show, and obviously like you can see what's happening in their heads, and Ilya's over here being fucking depressed because he's like, I just want to hug my boyfriend, I want to kiss my boyfriend, like we can't do anything, we can't even be like close to each other. And I don't think I put this in there, but like I remember this part because Ilya wanted to be as close as he could to Shane, so he like shifted closer to him a bit, where his hand I think like kind of like brushed his or like against him, and Shane flinched and was like, what the fuck are you doing? And that made me so fucking sad. And then when it went into Shane's perspective, to see that he was also thinking like, oh, I wish I could hold and hug my boyfriend now, but obviously like we can wait, like it's fine, whatever, because he's more like, we got a plan, bro. But then he ended up putting his hand on Ilya's lower back and saw that like Ilya's face like relaxed a bit, and he was like very grateful for some sense of touch. Just broke my heart. Okay, moving on. Oh, Shane had to pull over and cry after he saw Ilya kissing that woman at the club all those years ago because he was jealous. You know that all the things she said scene in the show? He pulled over. He didn't go immediately to trying to smash Rose. He left, he pulled over, and he cried because he fucking loved that man since then. Shane slept with 2 other guys before, question mark. I don't remember this from the first book. It could have been mentioned, but by the time I was reading this book, I didn't remember that, and I was very confused. I don't know why I thought Ilya was his first. Unless in between when they were just like sleeping with each other, he did sleep with 2 other guys. But I don't know, because that also seems very risky for him. But correct me if I'm wrong if it did happen in Heated Rivalry. Page 82. Ilya being depressed and sending a text to Shane asking if he was awake, but Shane seeing it the next morning thinking bro was just horny. That killed me. That made me sad, because from Shane's perspective, I would have probably thought the same shit. But from Ilya's perspective, it's like, dang, please don't kill yourself, bro. I was about to say that this is another part that made me really emotional, but I was just emotional throughout the whole fucking book. But Ilya hanging out with Shane's parents even when he's not there was the cutest thing ever, and them playing the games. Shane doing Ilya's move during his game and his parents laughing at Ilya's reaction. And it was Shane's parents like telling him, trying to calm him down, being like, bro, you don't think that like other kids or other hockey players are trying to pull off that move? Because Ilya's like, it's called the Rosenov for a reason. And then she's like, I'm pretty sure only you can master it, and obviously now Shane can do it too. And then Ilya was like, shut the fuck up, bro. Page 103, Ilya listens to Bad Bunny. Hey, I was waiting to get to that part because I was seeing a bunch of TikToks about saying that he's a Bad Bunny fan, and I was like, when am I gonna get to this? When when I thought it was gonna be a heated rivalry, and I'm like, I waited this long and I got it, and I'm completely fine with it, and I hope Bad Bunny is played during season 2. Okay, so page 112. This book overlaps with the timeline of Role Model because Ilya just told Shane they're getting a team puppy, which I forgot to mention with the Role Model book, they get a team puppy. Also, there hasn't been a mention of Troy yet, so that makes sense too. Ilya confirmed in page 122 that they've been an exclusive couple for over 3 years. That's crazy, but the fact that they've been in a serious relationship now for 3 years and not just fucking, proud of them. Very happy for them, but also that's 3 years in hiding, which is now making me very, very sad again. Ilya helping babysit Hayden's kids. Uncle Ilya. I love that. What, I think it's like Jade and Ruby are their names. Crystals. I'm dead. Okay. The pretend wedding the kids had for Shane and Ilya. Those girls were basically like, kiss right now. They don't know anything about people being gay, and they were like, kiss. They didn't even know that they're in a relationship, and they were like, kiss right now. So funny. Shane's teammates knowing he's gay, and JJ trying to set him up with some guy because nobody knows that he's dating Ilya. That was sending me. Ilya trying not to cry when Shane surprised him after his Halloween party. Pretty sure he was holding back an anxiety attack, then finally cried when Shane left. Real. There's so much emotions going on with Ilya during this book because his depression really does get bad, and I'm like, hashtag relatable. Ilya going to therapy and speaking about his mom in Russian. His therapist is also Russian, so he's finally able to like hold a conversation in Russian with somebody. Also, the therapist an ally. Page 175, the quote, how could they not know? When Shane, I can't believe like he never watched like the playback or like the video of when I think it was Marlo crashed into him, which led him going to the hospital and being like, Ilya, come to my cottage, that whole shit. He's never seen it, and then he felt so bad in this scene because he can tell from Ilya's face, like even just rewatching this shit, knowing that he's okay now, it was like he was like fucking reliving it, and he was so worried, and Shane could clearly see how Ilya was worried in the fucking video, and now he's like, how could they not know? How could nobody tell that they were so fucking in love that these bitches are gay? It's just insane, and now they've gone this long and people still aren't guessing it. Like, people are being like, oh, Shane's probably gay, but they don't know that he's with Ilya. Like, how could people not clock that? I'm pretty sure, and I've seen some like skits of people on TikTok of them pretending to be like a fan in the crowd, like watching the game and being like, there's something fruity going on with these two people. But anyways, moving on. Troy's officially in the storyline on chapter 17. Some of these notes are basically for me, but I mean, yeah. Ilya telling his therapist that he told Shane a few years ago he can sleep around with other men even though he didn't want him to. Since Shane had just figured out he was obviously gay, but Shane said no, he did not want to sleep with any other person, which was great. Love that. He would say that. Ilya being able to come out to Troy, but Shane and him getting into an argument. They made up, but Ilya's friendship with Troy is so cute, which I did talk about in Role Model. As a child of multiple divorces, I could not handle Shane and Ilya being so tense over Christmas, and I wanted to cry. I had that feeling of when you're trying to cry and you have a lump in your throat and it hurts. It's so fucking painful. That was me reading that whole chapter. And it was Christmas time. No. Okay, when they finally fought and Shane couldn't freaking understand how much Ilya gave up just to be with him, well, Shane has so much support. Now, I can't remember if I said that in this video. I don't think so. I think it was the voice messages I was sending my cousin earlier. But Shane, his parents know. So David and Yuna know that he's gay and that he's dating Ilya. Rose obviously knows that he's gay. I can't remember. No, yeah, she knows that he's dating Ilya. Hayden knows that he's gay and that he's dating Ilya. Ilya has no family. Shane's parents know. That's like the only other people he's closest to. Rose, he couldn't give less of a fuck about. And he hasn't even told Svetlana. He has like nobody to tell. He has no support system. Like his only true support system is Shane's parents. And then not just that, but he gave up Boston to go to the Ottawa Centaurs, and their team fucking sucks. I love that whole team, but like it's brought up in the book multiple times that that team sucks and they always lose. He's obviously getting a giant pay cut because he's going from Boston to damn Ottawa. He risks a lot, and now he doesn't like live near his old friends. He's in fucking Ottawa again, living in Ottawa, which is closer to Shane since he's in Montreal. But he literally doesn't have a support system. And yeah, his team is amazing. Love all the players, love the coach, everything, and it does help him. But he also doesn't really spend time with the team, and it's been brought up, and people always being like, oh, where's like Rosanov, like where's he going off to? Because the times that they do have free time or free days, he's gone with Shane because it's the only time they could spend time together. So he does have a good relationship with his team, but even I'm pretty sure he says, or like he thinks like it can be better. You know what I mean? Okay, I feel like I did go on a whole rant there. Anyways, Shane finally realizing that Ilya changed his whole life to fit into his, blah blah. Ilya and Shane finally talking it out a bit over FaceTime and agreeing that a bit of distance would be good for the both of them now that they're at away games, and they will talk better once they see each other in person. The plane scene. Again, I talked about this in Role Model, but since these timelines are overlapping, now we see the almost plane crash in Ilya's POV. And I say the Instagram DMs Ilya sent to Shane because he thought he was gonna die on the plane. I wish I wrote down what page that was. I can't read you guys the text messages. I found it. His eyes were blurry, making it hard to type. He quickly swiped at his eyes and kept writing. And then he says, I love you, always. Maybe from the first time I saw you, me cry all over again. Oh my gosh, blah blah blah. He goes on to say he wished Shane could respond. He hated thinking about Shane seeing these messages after, if he died. He'd keep them forever. Ilya know he would. Fuck, he had to say something really good. And then he goes to say, I'm thinking only about you right now. A million memories. Thank you for those. Whatever happens, I am with you. Safe in your heart. I believe it. Okay. Yeah, and then they didn't crash. They were able to have a safe landing. But that part fucking killed me. Okay, moving on. Shane thinking JJ figured him out, but he just thinks Shane has a crush on a straight man, which is Ilya. But then JJ saying it would be a scandal anyway since they're rivals. And again, pretty sure that stresses out Shane even more because it puts him more into the fact why they're in hiding and why this is such a big fucking deal. Shane being the one to propose to Ilya, they're getting married and planning to come out and getting married in the summer. He's finally like, after that almost plane crash, he was like, no, like I cannot move on with thinking that there is a chance of one of us dying and we are both in the fucking closet. Like, we are not doing that. So he's planning on coming out in the summer. And Ilya's like all for it. He was like, oh my gosh, yes, finally. Ilya finally being able to come out to someone. Also, I forget that Svetlana is white in this book. I completely forgot. I was shocked. Troy coming out was emotional but also upsetting to Ilya since he can't come out yet with Shane. He's getting there, but it's like so sad that like seeing all these other people being like happy with their partners and everything, and you're still like fucking hiding because of the fact that you guys are such huge rivals in the hockey community is insane. Okay. This is where it gets crazy, guys. Not Hayden accidentally exposing Shane and Ilya's relationship. Not Ilya watching the video saying it was really bad because Hayden needs a script. Hayden was making those cameo videos that we got where you could like pay a celebrity or influencer or whatever to like send a happy birthday message, send a congratulations message, or say hi. He was making one. I can't remember if it was a mirror behind him and then the window in front of him, or the mirror in front of him and window behind him. But Shane and Ilya were at his house. They were helping Jackie get a toy of one of the kids from the car. They were in the driveway. They were making out. Hayden did not realize that when he sent the happy birthday post that they were making out in the background. He did not see that because obviously they were little teeny tiny in the camera. And obviously that guy posted it to Twitter or some shit and it got around. Shane's team being assholes to him, but at least not homophobic. Just pissed because he's with Ilya. At least I'm hoping they're not being homophobic. Ilya's neighbors with the kids leaving a sign for him with a Funko Pop of him and Shane. I love it when they're allies. Shane's standing up for himself and Ilya against fucking Crowell. So proud. The damn commissioner. Because the commissioner was basically like, tell everyone it was a prank. That none of it was real. That you guys were just trying to be funny. And then Shane was like, fuck that. I love this man. We're gonna get married. Fuck you. Bye. He remembered who the fuck he was. And you know why? Because of that goddamn trophy scene. If you know, you know. Shane and JJ went back to being besties. Shane's team was pissing me off, thinking he tripped on purpose so Ilya's team can win. He was playing against Ilya's team. He tripped like at the last second, I think. And then I think it was when he went back with his team, he was like, oh, I can't believe I tripped. And one of them was like, did you? Do you guys not know Shane? His mom, they're competitive as fuck. I actually forgot about this, but Scott Hunter started some type of club to support hockey players. I can't remember if it's just queer hockey players, so they have some type of safety net, some type of union or something, so like they can't get abused or mistreated or whatever. But I thought that was amazing. I love Scott so much. I feel like I didn't realize how much I loved Scott until reading about him in everyone else's books compared to like his book. And I think it's because I just thought it was crazy how fast him and Kip moved. And again with the whole thing, like he came out before being ready, but at the same time he came out because he thought he was ready. It's a whole thing, okay? That's up for debate. Ilya coming into terms that he does have depression, and he finally tells Shane, and he finally tells him that he's been seeing a therapist, that he's finally getting help, and that he might try medication. Good for you, Ilya. Love you. Not Harris playing Diamonds by Rihanna for the first dance at Shane and Ilya's wedding. Also, they didn't have chairs. Okay. And Shane and Ilya finally getting to play together because Shane's team were still fucking assholes. So he left the Mitches and is now going to play with the Ottawa Centaurs, which is why I'm excited for Unrivaled to come out next year, because that's going to be so fun. I want to see what their dynamic is, especially because Shane's already accepting of the fact that Ilya's the captain. And he's like, okay, you're in charge. And I saw other people's takes on this, and I totally agree that Shane does need that break, especially as an autistic person. The burnout is so real. He's been captain for so long and has had such a big amount of pressure. I feel like especially coming out or after coming out, it's going to help him just like kind of relax and not obviously take his sport seriously still, but not feel such a deep amount of pressure, if that makes sense. And I know he's still competitive and he's gonna want to win, but I feel like in the meanwhile he's like, I have my husband, I have a great team, like I have a great life, like I'm just playing a play. But obviously he still wants to win, if that makes sense. At least that would be me. That's how I'm thinking of it. But I don't know, I feel like that's really good. I want to see how their dynamic is of Ilya being captain and Shane like having to listen to his orders, or like if there's gonna be any like conflict or butting heads, how it's gonna be. I want to see them play against Montreal. I feel like that would be the biggest fuck you to them to the old team. I feel like it would be really funny seeing them play against Boston. I feel like that would be more of like a playful match, honestly. Maybe I could be wrong. I don't know. I only remember Marlo and I can't remember how he is as a person. But yeah, everyone on the Centaurs team though, love them. Also, the fact that Luca Haas is gay, I can't remember if it's confirmed or not, or if it's just people saying that he is, but it's like everybody on that team is gay. You know who else is gay? The coach. Or am I just thinking of somebody's skit? I feel like the coach is gay. No, he is. He is. Pretty sure he brought that up in the book. He was with a man. Okay, but yeah, I loved the series. I honestly almost didn't read the series. I was like, why am I gonna read it? Because again, there's discourse about it, about Rachel Reed obviously being a cis woman writing about gay men, and if she is also a part of the community or not. And you know what, I feel like it was just so, again, I'm not those people it's like, oh, this wasn't well written, like da, da, da. I feel like it was well written. I was entertained. There was typos, and I feel like I should proofread the next book for her, but I feel like I related so much to the characters. And obviously there's gonna be like people nitpicking stuff apart, and I'll probably see it too and will agree with them depending what it is. But overall, I think it's such a great series. I think the show was amazing, especially with like the budget they had. They're obviously gonna have a way bigger budget for season 2, so I'm excited to see how that turns out with Jacob. I forgot his last name, but the director for the show, he's doing an amazing job, and he's a gay man, so I love that there's a gay man in charge of this too. Hudson Williams, Connor Story, amazing. I can't wait to see more of them, and again, I just can't wait to read the next book. I'm very excited. So glad that I was able to get my friend into reading this. So glad that like my friends are watching the show, my family's starting to watch the show, not the family here, but like my cousins. Yeah, it's just, it's crazy. Also, I wonder if they're gonna have Connor Story grow out a beard, because I can't see him with a beard. I don't know. Also, in the long game, Shane has long hair, and he like puts it into a bun. I don't know if I want to see that, but maybe he can pull it off. At least Hudson Williams, he could probably pull it off. We'll see. But yeah, that's the end of this video. If you made it this far, are you okay? That's crazy. Like, I was literally just yapping about these little gay books. But yeah, remember to take care of yourself. Don't forget to stay hydrated, especially in this summer weather. Drink some water, and I'll see you for the next video. Bye.